Hello, grade 8s, and welcome back to MV Tutors. So, you are about to write your first term test, and let's take this opportunity to do a revision, all right? And yeah, we're going to do question 1 up until question 8, and that should be a good prep for your test, and you can do very, very well. All right, please don't forget to like our videos. Tell your friends in class about this channel, your friends from other schools, and yeah, like and subscribe. All right, so let's get started without wasting any time. Now, question 1, let's look at 1.1. It says, list all the factors of 40. All right, let's do that. So we have 1 and 40, 2 and 20. Remember, we've done this before. So this is just us doing a recap of everything. All right, so 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 3 is not a factor, 4 definitely is, 4 and 10, 5, yes, if you say 40 divided by 5, you get 8. 6 is not a factor, 7, no, 8, yeah. Then we're good to go, all right? Therefore, the factors of 40 are 1, 2, 4, 5, 8, 10, 20, and 40. Okay, great. Now 1.2 says, list all factors of 40 that are prime numbers. So let's just get a different colored pen and highlight the prime numbers. 1 is not a prime number. Please don't make that mistake. So 2 is a prime number, because if you get the factors of 2, it's just 1 and 2. 5 is a prime factor. 4 is not, because you have 1 and 4, 2 and 2. 8 definitely not. 10, 20, 40 definitely not. So the prime factors of 40 are 2. And let me just rather say this. Prime factors of 40 are 2 and 5. All right, now 1.3. It says list all factors of 40 that are even numbers. So we're going to go take a different colored pen and just star every even number. All right, all factors. So 2 is an even number, 4 is an even number, 8, 10, 20, and 40. So we can write all of that down. So 2, I'm just going to list them. Okay, 2, 4, 8, 10, 20, and 40. Do we have all of them? Yes, we do. Alrighty, so that was question 1. It went quite well. So let's have a look at question 2. So 2.1 asks us to write 45 as a product of its prime factors. Okay, so 45 is, if I were to simplify it, I think 9 times 5. Okay, so 9 times 5. And if I write 9, 5 is already a prime factor. If I write 9 as a prime factor, it is actually 3 times, sorry, did I say? Yes, prime factor. It's 3 times 3, and we get 5. Okay, so 3 times 3 is 9, times 5 is 45, or you could have said 3 times 5 is 15, and 15 times 3, that will give you 45. Okay, so that is 45 as a product of its prime factors. What about 2.2? Write 64 as a product of its prime factors. Okay, so I know that 64 is 8 times 8. Okay, if you know your square numbers, if you have touched that subject yet, or that topic, yeah, so 64 is 8 times 8, and I know that 8 is actually 2 times 4, right? So I have 2 times 4 times 2 times 4. 4 is not a prime factor, so how do I get it to its prime factors? I'm going to break it apart and say 2 times 2. So basically, I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Yeah, if you've done exponents, yeah, you can probably leave it like this, or you could say 2 to the power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 to the power 6. Even this one, they didn't ask you to write it as an exponent, so it's fine. You can leave it as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Or you could, yeah, write it as 2 to the power 6. Even here, you could have said 3 to the power 2 times 5. But this should be sufficient. And we are done with question 2. We are pretty much gliding through this. And it is expected because we have been watching all the videos. And we've been doing a whole lot of practicing. So, yeah. What does question 3 require from us? So question 3.1 says, determine the highest common factor of 12 and 18. I'm going to list the factors of 12, and then on the same side, I'm going to list the factors of 18. So what are the factors of 12? We have 1 and 12. We have 2 and 6. We have 3 and 4. And that's pretty much that. With 18, we have 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6, and we don't have anything to do with 4 or 5, so that's it. Now, if I look at the factors of 12, it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And the factors of 18, 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 18. Which one are the same? Which factors are the same? So we have 2 here, we have 2, we have 3, we have 6. Okay, and which one is the highest common factor? I hope that you can see that the highest common factor of 12 and 18 is actually 6. All right, that wasn't so bad. And now 3.2, determine the highest common factor of 18 and 54. Okay, we already have those for 18, so I don't think we need to put it down or write it down again. Let us go to 54 and write down the factors of 54. So we have 1 and 54. We have 2 and 27. Okay, 27 times 2 is 54. Is 3 a factor? Remember what I said about 3. If we add 5 and 4, we get 9. So 3 is definitely a factor. But now I need to just calculate. What am I writing there? It's supposed to be 54. So what is 54 divided by 3? 5 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. Bring down the 4. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So yes, we have 3 and 18. Is 54, does it have 4 as a factor? I don't know. Let's see. By the way, I don't think you guys, they allow you to have calculators. It wouldn't make sense. So 5 divided by 4 is 1. Nope, 4 is not a factor. 5, definitely not. 6, is 6 a factor? I think it is. I think it is. If you say, no, not gonna, yeah. I think 6 times 9, all right? 6 times 9 should give you 54. All right, so we have 6 and we have 9. And yeah, I think those are all the factors. So if we write down the factors of 54, we have 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18, 27, and 54. Now, if I look at 18 as well as 54, I can see actually the highest common factor is 18. All right. Therefore, the highest common factor is 18. Alrighty. So we're just going to take a little break and then get back to this. I just want to close my window and my door because there's a lot of noise outside. Okay, and then we'll get back and do question 4. All right, so question 4 says simplify the following. And you're going to use your properties, right, for whole numbers, which is what we have been doing so far. But the properties of whole numbers in terms of the distributive, the commutative, the associative. Okay, so we have 3 and followed by a bracket of 2 plus 6. So according to Botmas, we need to deal with what's inside the bracket first. Okay, and then you can remove the brackets and do a normal sum. So what's inside the brackets? We have 2 plus 6, which is what? It is 8. Okay, so basically, if you have brackets there, it's the same as saying 3 times 8, and you know your multiplication tables, that is 24. What about 4.2? So we have 5 minus 3 minus 1. Okay, actually, before we even go forward, I could have used the distributive property and say, what is 3 times 2? That's 6. And what is 3 times 6? That's 18. What is 6 plus 18? That is 24. That's another way of doing it. But let's start first with what's inside the bracket. So again, we have 5 minus, and now 3 minus 1, that gives us 2. So at the end, we have 5 minus 2, and that would be 3. Great. Now 4.3, we have 2 plus 3 times 4 plus 1. All right, so again, start with what's in the bracket, and what do we have there? 4 plus 1 is 5. So now we say 2 plus 3 times 5. What is 3 times 5? That is 15. Correct. What is 2 plus 15? Simply 17. All right, now we get to 4.4. We have 1 minus. Now the integers come in. 1 minus minus 2. Then we have minus 3 plus 2. Okay, so remember we have a minus and a minus. What happens if you say a minus multiplied by a minus? It turns into a positive. So we have 1 plus 2 minus 3 plus 2. And if you are uncertain, you can add for yourself a number line just so that you know what you're doing and you're doing it correctly. Okay, so let's just say here we have 0, and this is 1, 2, 3, and then we have minus 1. We'll increase it if need be. Okay, so I'm starting at 1. I am adding 2. 1, 2, so I'm at 3. Okay, so I'm done with that. Now I need to subtract 3. Okay, if I'm adding, I'm going to the right. If I'm subtracting, I'm going to the left. So let us use another different colored pen to show that we're going to the left. So we're going minus 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm at 0. So I'm done with that. And then I add 2. My goodness, what a runaround. 1, 2. So my answer then is 2. Okay, there it is if you use the number line. If you didn't use the number line, you could have said 1 plus 2 is 3. And then I'm subtracting 3, so I'm at 0 plus 2. I need to end up with 2. Okay, and then the last question from question 4. So there we have our exponents. 3 to the power 3 times 2 minus 4 squared. All right, what is 3 to the power 3? Remember, it is 3 times 3 times 3. And from our video, 3 cubed, remember I said you should cram them? Yeah, so if you cram it, you would know that 3 cubed is actually 27. And we're going to multiply it by 2 and 4 squared. Again, I told you to cram those squares and cubes. Okay, so 3 cubed we said is 27, right? You would have crammed it. And 4 squared, you know that it's 16. So what is 27 times 2? We get 54. And what is 54 minus 16? Okay, I'm going to have to go back here since I don't have my calculator, or I am not allowed to use a calculator. So I'm going to be left with 4. So 14 minus 6 is 8, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So my answer then is 38. Okay, and now question 5. Please don't mind the noise in the background. My daughter is having fun. All right, Simplify the following. So we have 5.1. Now we have mixed fractions and we are adding them. I love fractions. I hope you can remember from the video I made how passionate I am about fractions. So for 5.1, we have 3.5, right? And we have 2 and 2/3. So basically we need to add the 2. We have a mixed fraction. We're going to make it improper. So remember what we do. We say 3 times 2 plus 1. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. And the same denominator, right? Here we have 2 times 3 is 6 plus 2 is 8 over 3. Remember now we have different denominators over here. What do we do if we have different denominators? Well, remember the trick I taught you? We're going to multiply the denominators. Then we're going to cross multiply. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So what is 2 times 3 in the denominator? That is 6. 7 times 3 is 21. 2 times 8 is 16. And we're just going to add there. What is 21 plus 16? So 1 plus 6 is 7. 2 plus 1 is 3. And we have 37 over 6. We can't simplify that. You know, it is what it is. It has been simplified. If they wanted the mixed fraction again, you could have said, what is 37 divided by 6? That's pretty much 6. Okay, remember what we do there. And then 6 times 6 is 36. We bring 1 down, so we have 1 remainder. So 6 and then 6 and a 6. But they didn't ask for it. This is me just doing extra work. They just said simplify. Okay, so this would suffice. What about 5.2? All right, so we have quite a long one. We have 2 over 3 plus 3 over 4 minus 4 over 5. I would suggest let's start with these two fractions first. Okay, we have different denominators, so we're going to multiply these two. 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9, and we're adding. And we're going to leave this fraction as it is for now. So what is 8 plus 9 is 17 over 12 minus 4 over 5. Now, we have different denominators still, so we're going to multiply these two. What is 12 times 5? I believe it is 60. Okay, so this is where you need to now know your multiplications, right? So it is 60. Not that I believe, it is 60. Now what is 17 times 5? Let's just do it there quickly. 7 times 5 is 35. All right, 1 times 5 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So we have 85. All right, that's 17 times 5. And then we have 12 times 4, which is 48. And this is a subtraction sign. Now we need to see what is 85 minus 48. So 15 minus 8 is 7. 7 minus 4 is 3. So now we have 37 over 60. And unfortunately, 37 is a prime number, so we can't really simplify any further. And this is not an improper fraction, so this is okay. We can leave it at that. Now let's go to 5.3. We have a half. Oh, I love it when we multiply. A half multiplied by 2/3 divided by 3 over 4. So let's first start with the first two fractions. Remember, when you multiply fractions, we multiply the denominators first. And we multiply the numerators. Okay, we multiply the numerators and then we multiply the denominators. All right, so what do we get when we multiply the numerators? We get 2. The denominators, we get 6. And we say divide by 3 over 4. Now, what are the rules when it comes to division? Firstly, the first fraction must stay the same. We turn the division into multiplication. We swap the numerator and the denominator, and then we multiply as normal. 2 times 4 is 8. 6 times 3 is 18. Can we simplify this? Yes, we can. We can actually divide by 2 on both sides. I think that is the highest common factor. All right, so 8 divided by 2, that is 4. 18 divided by 2 is 9. And there's our answer. Isn't that amazing? That is absolutely great. Now 5.4. we have 3 over 5 divided by 2 over 4 multiplied by a mixed fraction. Oh my gosh, this is getting juicy. So we're going to start with these two, all right? And what do we do when we have division? So we have 3 over 5 multiplied by 4 over 2. Remember the rules. We have to change, swap the denominator and the numerator. And then we're going to multiply. Let's turn this mixed fraction into an improper fraction. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7 over 3. Now we're dealing with these two, remember? Actually, now that we're multiplying, remember the commutative property of whole numbers? We can so much just multiply everything through. So the numerator, we have 3 times 4 times 7, and then multiply the denominators, 5 times 2 times 3. Or you could have just, stuck to these two and said 3 times 4 over 5 times 2 multiplied by 7 over 3. It's really up to you. You will get the same answer. So 3 times 4 is 12. And what is 12 times 7? All right, your multiplication table, that is 84. And then 5 times 2 is 10 times 3 is 30. All right, so even here we could have said 12 over 10 and then 7 over 3. So again, what's 12 times 7? That's 84, and 10 times 3 is 30. So we can leave it here. Oh no, we can't. We need to simplify. Okay, now, common factor or the highest common factor. So factors of 30, it's 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. Yeah, 5 and 6. But is 84 also divisible by 6? Let's check. So we have 84 over 6. Okay, 8 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times 6 is 6. Then we have 24. 24 divided by 6. That would be 4. So 14, yes. So I think 6 is the highest common factor. So if we then, let me just erase that. If I say 84 divided by 6, that is 14. And if I say 30 divided by 6, that is 5. Okay, so I have an improper fraction there, 14 over 5. That is simplified. If they wanted a mixed fraction, I would have said how many times does 5 go into 14? It goes twice. And what does it leave? It leaves 4. So 2 and 4 over 5. Okay. And is that it? Yes, we are done with question 5. Now we get to question 6. All right. And let's take a young break. All right, 6.1. Again, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also like our videos. Now we're dealing with ratios. Another topic that's quite very nice. So it says divide 120 in the ratio of 2 to 3. Okay, what do we do first? Firstly, we have a 2 to 3 ratio, right? We're then going to say 2 plus 3 is 5. So now I'm going to say 2 parts out of 5, and I'm going to multiply by 120. That's one portion. And then we also have 3 parts out of 5 that we're going to multiply by 120. So what do we have there? I'm going to say 2 times 120. Let's try to divide 120 in its prime factors. So 120 would be 12 times 5. Okay, and we divide by 5. I think we can leave it at that. No. Did I just say 12 times 5? I wanted to say 12 times 10. My apologies. Okay, let's simplify it further. So I have 2, and I know that 12 is 3 times 4, and 4 is 2 times 2, and then 10 is 2 times 5. So we have it in its prime factors. So then we can divide the 5 and the 5, and what are we left with? We are left with 2 times 3, which is 6, 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 times 2 is 48. Okay, so basically, if we divide 120 in the ratio of 2 to 3, we have 48 Rand initially. Okay, and then now let's do 3 times 120. I'm going to go again, 12 times 10, and we're going to divide that by 5. Okay, this time I'm not going to break it that much into its prime factors. I'm just going to say 3 times 12 times 5 times 2. I think that's better. So the 5s get to cancel, and now we're left with 3 times 12, which is 36, and 36 times 2 is 72. Once you have your answer, please just make sure that if you take 48 and add 72, you actually get 120. Okay, it's important to check. So 8 plus 2 is 10, and then 4 plus 7 is 11, plus 1, that's 20. So yes. All right, so we have broken down 120 in the ratio of 2 to 3. And then 6.2, divide 72 in that ratio. Okay, not Russian. Ratio. So we have 2 to 3 to 4. So basically I say 2 plus 3 plus 4. And what is that? It gives me 9. Alright, so now I have 2 over 9 times 72. Then I have 3 over 9 times 72. And then lastly, I have 4 over 9 times 72. All right, 72. You just need to think about the factors of 72. 8 and 9 are amongst those factors. All right, so I have 2 over 9, and 72 is actually 8 times 9. All right, so if I were to write it, it's actually 2 times 8 times 9 divided by 9. The 9's cancel, then I'm left with 2 times 8, which is 16. So we have the first portion. Now I have 3 times 8 times 9 all over 9. So again, the 9's cancel each other. I'm left with 3 times 8, which is 24. And then lastly, we have 4 times 8 times 9 all over 9. So the 9's cancel. I have 4 times 8, and what is that? That gives us 32. Now we need to check. Will I get 72 when I'm done? So I have 16 plus 24. What does that give me? It gives me 40. And if I take 40 plus 32, what does that give me? It gives me 72. So I am very confident in my answers over there. We were able to divide 72 in the ratio 2 to 3 to 4. Great. Now we get to 6.3. Let's just make this a little bit smaller and read this question. So it says Nonku won 350 from a competition. All right. The competition commission decided to increase the winnings by a ratio of 6 to 5. Calculate the adjusted amount. Wow, that is nice of that competition commission. So we have 350, and remember, when we increase by a certain ratio, we make sure that the highest number is in the numerator and the smallest number is in the denominator. Okay, which is part of the ratio. So now 350, if I think of 350, I think of 7 times 5 for 35. So 7 times 5 times 10. That's how I'm breaking it up. 7 times 5, which is 35, times 10 is 350. And I'm multiplying by this 60. And I'm dividing by 5. The 5's get to cancel. So I'm left with 7 times 10, which is 70. Or I would rather say 7 times 6. Okay, now what is 7 times 6? That is basically 42. And then I have 42 times 10. So that is then 420 Rand. That is nice. I mean, going from 350 to 420, my goodness, I would love that. And now it brings us to question 7. Am I going a little bit too fast for you? Well, the nice thing about you watching this video is that you can pause, take a moment, do the sum again by yourself, and then continue. Okay. And for those who are quite fast, let's go to question 7. So question 7 says, okay, a car marked at 220,000 is sold at a discount of 20%. What is the selling price? Okay, let me repeat again. A car marked at 220,000 is sold at a discount of 20%. What is the selling price? So here we need to work out what the discount actually is. And I think at this point you are allowed to use calculators, right? But yes, so firstly we need to work out what 20% is of 220,000. So we have 220,000 multiplied by 20%. Remember, percent meaning that we have 20 out of 100 parts, right? Because cent is like century, it's 100. Okay. So basically, what I can then do, I can say 200,000. Let's put it under all. We'll use the calculator a bit later just to check the answer. All right. So basically, I can rewrite this as 220, or rather 2,200 multiplied by 100 multiplied by 20 all over 100, because I want the hundreds to cancel out. All right, so the hundreds will cancel out. So I have 2,200, which is the same as 22 multiplied by 100 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 10. Okay, if I take 20 apart, I have 2 times 10. If I take 2,200 apart, I actually have 22 times 100. So 22 times 2, I want to multiply these two. So I have 44. And 100 times 10 is 1,000. Okay, so I basically have 44,000. That is 20% of 220,000. Okay, it's 44,000. So now what is the selling price? So basically, I have 220,000 and I need to subtract 44,000 in order to get, because I have a discount, 20% discount. So the discount is 44,000. All right, so what am I left with? 0 minus 0 is just 0, blah, blah. So if I borrow 1 over here, 10 minus 4 is 6, and 21 minus 4, okay, I can see 11 minus 4 is 7 and 1. So basically this is the selling price. But let's get a calculator and then work it out. I hope this section you are using a calculator. All right, so I have the calculator here. Let's get 20% of 220. So what I do, I'm going to multiply it by 20%. And that is 44,000. Okay, so that's great. That was the discount. But remember, we want to get the selling price. So you need to take 220,000 and subtract the 44,000. So that is 176,000, and that is the selling price. Great. Now let's go to 7.2. It says, Melanie is shopping for clothes at Ackerman's. Okay. A pair of jeans that she wants usually cost 190, but today there is a 30% discount. So how much does Melanie pay for the discounted pair of jeans? All right, so there's a discount. So firstly, what is 30% of 190? So we have 190 multiplied by 30%. All right, so basically that is like me saying, if I want to take 190 and actually divide it in terms of, I want 100. I want 100. Okay, so if I were to take 1,9, and I multiplied. Ooh, no, I'm actually going to complicate life for myself. Let's not do that. Okay, so I think what we can do, let us just take 19 multiplied by 10. That'll give us 190, and then take 3 and multiply it by 10. Okay, I think that's much better. Over 100. So 100 is actually 10 times 10. Okay, I hope you see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to cancel out there. Now I have 19 times 3. What is 19 times 3? 9 times 3 is 27. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So basically, I have 57 Rand there. All right. That is the discount that she got. All right. But now they want to know how much Milani will pay for the discounted pair of jeans. So I need to take that 190 and subtract 57 from it. So 10 minus 7 is 3. 8 minus 5 is 3. So basically, she would end up paying 133 rands. Okay, this is if you don't have a calculator. Now, if you have a calculator, you would say 190. What's 30% of that? 30% of 190 is 57. And then you say 190 minus the 57, and you get 133 Rand. Now let's get to 7.3. If you're not understanding anything, please just comment below. I can try to explain again. Now 7.3 says, Kenneth invests, or he wants to invest 1,000 Rand at a bank. Okay, so this is what he wants to invest. The bank, ABSA, offers 9% simple interest. So the interest rate there is 9%, okay, per year for 5 years. Okay, 9% per year for 5 years. This is now ABSA. And then Nedbank, no, before we even get to Nedbank, FNB offers 10%. All right, simple interest per year for 4 years. Nedbank, what does Nedbank offer? Nedbank offers 11% per annum. Okay, simple interest for 3 years. So you see, as the interest rate increases here from ABSA to FNB to Nedbank, the number of years decreases. So now they're asking, determine each bank value to help Stephen decide which bank he should choose. So you already have the formula. Simple interest is equal to the principal value, which is 1,000 Rand, multiplied by the interest rate R, multiplied by the amount of years N, and you divide all of that by 100. So you already have the formula. What you need to do is plug in the values. So from ABSA, what do we get? So it's going to be 1,000 multiplied by 9%. Remember, 9% is 9 over 100 multiplied by 5. We're going to get back to it. Secondly, here you definitely need to use the calculator. Oh my word. Oh, and this, all of this is divided by, okay, this 100 actually is for the interest rate. Okay, so you could have simply said 9, all right, and then you divide by 100. So FNB, we have 1,000 Rand, that's our principal amount. The interest rate is 10%, 10%, and we have 4 years. Okay, and then lastly, for Nedbank, we still have 1,000 Rand that we put in, and then we have 11%, and then we have 3 years. So what would the final amount be? Let's first start with ABSA. So we have 1,000 multiplied by 9 multiplied by 5 divided by 100, and that is 400. No, something is not right here. Yeah. Okay, so that is the interest that they're gonna make. Okay. Determine each bank future value to help Stephen decide which bank he should use. All right. So we have 1,000 times 9% times 5. That's 450. Okay. 450 then plus that 1,000, because the 450 would be the interest that was made. So they have 1,450 rands. Okay, now secondly, we have 1,000 times 10. Okay, times 10. And then we have 4 years. Okay, there we have 400. Okay, plus 1,000. That is 1,400. Okay, so we're not going with that. That is less. And then we have 1,000 times 11. And we multiply that by 3. Okay. Alright, so it keeps getting less. We have 330 plus 1,000. So 1,330. So it says determine each bank future value. Alright, so which one should he choose? I would definitely go with ABSA. Alright, and then now we're at question 8. The last question. So this looks like a rate kind of question. We've already covered rates. It says Mandla visits his friend who stays 20 kilometers away. Okay, so the distance there is 20 kilometers. If he drives his car at a speed of 120, so that's the speed, 120 kilometers per hour, how long will it take him to arrive? So the time that it would take him to arrive, let's just say arrival time or time of arrival. Okay, that's basically going to be 120 kilometers per hour. But you know what I need to do? Let's first start like this. Remember that speed is actually distance over time. So if I'm looking for time, I would then have to do this. I would take this time, I'm going to multiply both sides. Okay, so these two would cancel. So I have distance, which is time multiplied by speed. But if I want time alone, I will have to divide by the speed both sides. So basically, I would say the distance divided by the speed actually gives me the time. So what is the distance? The distance is 20 kilometers. And what is the speed? The speed is 120 kilometers over 1 hour. Now remember, when we have fractions, what do? You keep the first as it is. We change the division sign to multiplication sign, and we swap the numerator and the denominator. So I have 1 hour and I divide by 120 kilometers. All right, so then I have 20 kilometers times 1 hour divided by 120 kilometers. So what happens then? The kilometers cancel out. I'm left with time, which is an hour. So I have 20 over 120 hours, but I need to simplify it. Okay, so if I divide by 10, I get 2 over 12. If I divide by 2, actually I could have just, the highest common factor there is 20. All right, So if I were to divide by 20, I have 1 in my numerator, and 120 divided by 20 in itself, what would I get? I would get 6. Okay, so it's actually 1 over 6 hours. If I were to check what 1 over 6 is, just to put it as a decimal, it's actually, if I round up to 2 decimal places, I have 0,17 hours. Okay, that is the time it takes for him to arrive, the time of arrival. I hope that makes sense and it wasn't too much of a trick question. And with that, ladies and gents, we are done with this term 1 test revision.